Our technology is designed to last, Do-hyun replied. The main power cells can maintain minimal functions for up to 50,000 years. With a soft hiss, the hatch opened. A team of specialists in protective suits prepared to enter the ship. Before they could move, Do-hyun held up his hand. I must enter first, he said. It is our custom when recovering the dead. No one argued. Do-hyun put on a suit and stepped into the dark opening. The humans and aliens waited tensely outside. After 15 minutes, he emerged, his face pale behind his mask. We found 3 bodies, he announced quietly. They appear to have died when their cryo-sleep pods failed. The recovery of the bodies was handled with great care and respect. The alien crew treated their ancient fallen comrades with solemn ceremony, covering each preserved body with a silvery cloth before moving them to special containers. As the bodies were taken away, the scientific teams began to explore the ship itself. The interior was remarkably well preserved, with control panels still lighting up when touched. Min-ho and Dr. Kim worked their way to what appeared to be a laboratory section. Inside, they found racks of samples and data storage devices. Look at this, Dr. Kim said, pointing to images on one screen. They showed primitive humans from the Ice Age, along with detailed scans of their bodies. Why were they so interested in early humans? Min-ho wondered. Yoonji joined them, her expression guarded. Standard biological survey, she said quickly. All exploration teams catalog local life forms. But Dr. Kim noticed how quickly Yoonji downloaded the data from the ancient computer. There was something important here. Later that evening, as teams continued to document the ship's interior, a technician called out in surprise. Commander, I found something strange. Do-hyun rushed over. The technician pointed to a small device that had begun pulsing with a soft blue light. It just started, on its own, the technician explained. I didn't touch anything. Do-hyun's eyes widened. He touched the screen, bringing up a display of unfamiliar symbols. This is impossible, he whispered. What is it? Dr. Kim asked. It's a locator beacon, Do-hyun replied slowly. For the 4th cryopod. According to this, he paused, looking up with shock in his eyes. One of our crew may still be alive. The revelation sent a wave of excitement through both human and alien teams. If the pod had maintained its integrity for 30,000 years, its occupant might be recovered. Where is it? Min-ho asked, leaning forward to see the display. Do-hyun tapped several controls. A map appeared, showing a location hundreds of miles away in a remote mountain range. There, he said. That's where we'll find the last survivor of the ancient mission. As night fell over the excavation site, preparations began for a new search. The mystery of why these aliens had come to Earth 30,000 years ago was about to deepen. The helicopter blades chopped through the mountain air as the search team approached their target. Below them, jagged peaks stretched in all directions, untouched by human development. Dr. Kim checked the tracking device in her hand. The signal was growing stronger. We're getting close, she called to Do-hyun over the noise. The cave system should be just ahead. The joint team had traveled for 3 days to reach this remote region. Satellite images had revealed a network of caves hidden within the mountain face. The beacon signal originated from deep within this natural fortress. The pilot found a small clearing for landing. As the team unloaded their equipment, Do-hyun gazed up at the sheer rock wall before them. Somewhere inside was the answer to a 30,000-year-old mystery. The entrance should be about 50 meters up, one of the human geologists said, pointing to a dark shadow on the cliff face. They climbed carefully, securing ropes as they went. The cave opening was narrow but widened after a few meters. Inside, the temperature dropped noticeably. Their flashlights cut through darkness that had remained undisturbed for millennia. The signal is coming from deeper in the system, Min-ho said, checking his scanner. About 200 meters that way. The team moved slowly through the winding passages. In some places, they had to crawl through tight spaces. In others, they crossed vast chambers filled with spectacular ice formations. It's amazing the pod beacon lasted this long, Na Young remarked as they climbed down a steep slope. The pods were designed to preserve life at all costs, Do Hyun replied. They have independent power sources and can adapt to changing environments. After 3 hours of difficult progress, they reached a chamber unlike the others. This one showed signs of alteration. The walls had been smoothed in places, and there were unusual markings near the floor. 30,000 years ago, our people sent explorers to various worlds. One expedition came to your planet but never returned. We received a distress signal, but the distance was too great for immediate rescue. Now we have come to retrieve what remains. The human delegates exchanged glances. Dr. Kim leaned forward. We have no record of alien visitors in our ancient past. The expedition crashed in what you now call Siberia, Na Young explained. At that time, your species had not yet developed written language. The ship would be deeply buried by now. One of the military advisors spoke up. How do we know this isn't a cover story for invasion? Do Hyun's expression remained calm. If we wished to conquer your world, we would not announce our arrival or request permission to search. After hours of tense discussion, Dr. Kim made an offer. We will help you locate your lost expedition. In exchange, we ask that you share certain technologies with us, specifically medical and environmental innovations that could benefit our people. Do Hyun considered this. His world needed the research data from the lost ship, but sharing technology with developing civilizations was against their protocols. Still, these humans had advanced far beyond expectations. We can share some technologies, he agreed. Nothing that could be weaponized, but knowledge that will help your people and planet thrive. Over the next week, teams of humans and aliens formed a joint expedition. Scientists, archaeologists, and military personnel from both species worked together to plan the search for the ancient crash site. Russian authorities granted access to the remote Siberian region where the aliens believed their ship had landed. Advanced scanning equipment was brought in from the orbiting vessel. On the flight to Siberia, Dr. Kim sat across from Do Hyun. There's something I don't understand, she said. Why is this lost ship so important after 30,000 years? Do Hyun hesitated before answering. The expedition carried prototype technology and valuable research data. Also, we honor our dead. We do not abandon our people no matter how much time has passed. Dr. Kim nodded but sensed he wasn't telling the whole truth. Their aircraft landed at a hastily built base camp in the Siberian wilderness. Snow covered the ground despite it being summer. Teams began setting up equipment as Do Hyun and Na Young calibrated their scanning devices. Signal detected, Na Young announced suddenly. Her eyes widened as she looked at Do Hyun. It's faint, but it matches our ancient transmission codes. Hope and tension filled Do Hyun's face. Begin the excavation, he ordered. We found them. Under the watchful eyes of both species, the search for a 30,000-year-old secret had begun. The Siberian wind cut through even the thickest clothing. Snow swirled around the massive machines that carefully removed layers of frozen earth. Both humans and aliens worked side by side, their breath forming clouds in the cold air. Senior engineer Min Ho checked the readings on his tablet. We're getting closer. The main body of the ship appears to be about 30 meters down. His alien counterpart, Yoon-ji, nodded. The permafrost preserved it remarkably well. Our scans show the hull is still largely intact. They stood at the edge of what had become an enormous excavation site. Dozens of workers moved carefully around specialized equipment. Some machines were clearly of Earth origin, while others featured the sleek, advanced design of the visitors' technology. Dr. Kim approached, stamping her feet against the cold. The press is getting impatient. They want to know what we've found. Tell them to wait, Min Ho replied. We can't rush this. One wrong move could damage artifacts that have been preserved for 30,000 years. The excavation had been underway for 2 weeks. The initial scans had pinpointed the location of the ancient ship, buried deep beneath layers of ice, soil, and rock. Each day brought them closer to their goal. Commander Do Hyun rarely left the site. He watched every scoop of earth with intense focus, Something about his interest seemed more than scientific curiosity or respect for lost comrades. "There!" one of the technicians shouted. "I see metal!" Everyone rushed to the spot. A robotic arm had uncovered a small section of smooth silver material. Despite being buried for millennia, it still gleamed in the work lights. "Begin the fine excavation protocol," Do-hyun ordered. "No power tools near the hull." For the next 3 days, workers carefully removed the surrounding soil by hand. Gradually, more of the ship became visible. It was smaller than many had expected, about the size of a passenger bus, with an elegant curved design. "It's a scout vessel," Yoonji explained to the human scientists. "Designed for exploration of new worlds." The crew would have been small, probably 4 or 5 individuals. On the 5th day, they uncovered the entrance hatch. Do-hyun placed his hand on the ancient metal, his expression solemn. Then he pressed a sequence of symbols on a panel near the door. To everyone's amazement, lights flickered along the hull. "It still has power?" Dr. Kim asked in disbelief. The storm raged across the frozen land. Snow whipped through the air as a silver ship cut through the dark clouds. Inside, 4 beings from a distant world fought to control their failing vessel. "Pull up! We're losing altitude!" Taewon shouted, his fingers moving quickly over the glowing controls. The ship shuddered violently. "Engine power at critical levels," Hanbin reported from the engineering station. His normally calm voice carried an edge of fear. The science officer, Ji-ho, braced herself against the wall as the ship lurched sideways. "The atmosphere is denser than our scans indicated." Their medical officer, Sung-min, said nothing. He simply tightened his safety harness and closed his eyes. With a final sickening lurch, the ship plunged through the ice-filled sky. The ground rushed up to meet them. Taewon managed to level their descent somewhat, but the impact was still devastating. The ship struck the frozen earth and skidded nearly a mile before coming to rest in a deep bank of snow. Silence fell inside the damaged vessel. Then, one by one, the crew members checked themselves and each other. "Is everyone alive?" Taewon asked, wiping blue blood from a cut on his forehead. They were alive, but their ship was badly damaged. The sleek silver hull had been torn open in several places. The cold air of this primitive world, called Earth in the local star charts, seeped into the cabin. "We need to assess the damage," Hanbin said, already moving toward the engine room. Over the next few days, the truth became clear. Their ship could not be repaired with the materials available on this primitive planet. The propulsion system had ruptured completely. The communication array was intact, but the nearest outpost was light years away. "I've sent the distress signal," Taewon told his crew as they gathered in the ship's small living area. "But it will take years, possibly decades, for rescue to arrive." Ji-ho looked up from her datapad. "We should prepare for a long stay then. I've been studying the local life forms. This planet is teeming with diverse species." The crew set up a temporary camp outside their damaged ship. They built shelters from local materials and began to explore the surrounding area. The planet was in the grip of an ice age, but life still thrived in many forms. Most interesting to Ji-ho were the primitive humans that lived in small groups across the landscape. These beings walked upright and used simple tools. They had mastered fire and created art on cave walls. Their brains were large for their bodies, suggesting intelligence. They communicate with each other, Ji-ho reported after observing a human tribe from a distance. They have language, social structures, and even primitive technology. They're far more advanced than any similar species we've encountered. As the weeks turned into months, Ji-ho spent more and more time studying the humans. She collected biological samples and ran tests in the ship's laboratory. What she discovered amazed her. "These humans have a unique relationship with their environment," she told the others one night. "Their genetic code contains elements that can influence the adaptation of other species around them." Taewon looked skeptical. "How is that possible?" "I'm not entirely sure," Ji-ho admitted. "But it could explain why life on this planet is so diverse and resilient. These humans are unconsciously shaping their ecosystem." As their first year on Earth passed, the crew realized they needed a more permanent solution. Their supplies would not last forever. "We should enter cryosleep," Sungmin suggested. The emergency pods can sustain us until rescue arrives. The plan was sound. The ship's cryostasis pods were designed for long-term survival. The crew prepared for their long sleep, with Jiho uploading all her research data into the ship's central computer. On the day they were to enter cryosleep, a massive storm struck. The ground shook with seismic activity as the crew entered their pods one by one. Taewon was the last to enter his pod, setting the automated systems to maintain their sleep and monitor for rescue signals. What happened next? None of them would know. The storm intensified, causing a landslide that partly buried the ship. The power systems, already damaged from the crash, began to fail. 3 of the 4 cryopods malfunctioned, their life support systems shutting down. Only Jiho's pod remained functional, but another tremor caused it to break free from its moorings. The small self-contained unit slid away from the ship, carried by the moving earth and ice. As the years passed, the ship and its 3 dead occupants sank deeper into the frozen ground. The ice age continued, then gradually receded. The landscape changed around the buried ship, hiding it from view. And far away, in a cave carved by ice and water, Jiho slept on, unaware that her rescue would not come for 30,000 years. The giant ship appeared suddenly in Earth's sky. One moment, satellites tracked nothing unusual. The next, a vessel larger than any human craft hung above the planet. Military bases worldwide went on high alert. News channels showed the same image, a smooth silver ship with strange markings along its hull. Inside the ship, Commander Do-hyun stood before a large view screen. He looked at the blue planet below with surprise in his eyes. "This cannot be right," he said. "Our records show this world had only primitive life when our explorers disappeared." His executive officer, Na-young, checked the data again. "The coordinates match perfectly. This is definitely the right planet." "Then how do you explain these?" Do-hyun pointed to images of cities, roads, and satellites. "These structures indicate an advanced civilization." Na-young studied the readings. 30,000 years have passed since our expedition was lost. It seems the primitive species has evolved rapidly. Do-hyun frowned. Their mission was supposed to be simple: find the lost exploration vessel, recover any remains and technology, and return home. They had not prepared for first contact with a new civilization. "We need to communicate with them," he decided. "They might have found traces of our lost ship." Earth's response to the alien arrival was chaos. People panicked in the streets. Governments held emergency meetings. Military forces readied weapons that would be useless against the visitors' technology. The first communication came as a simple message broadcast in all Earth languages. "We come in peace. We seek only what was once ours." After 3 days of careful negotiation, a meeting was arranged. Do-hyun and 3 crew members took a small shuttle to Earth's United Nations building in New York. The world watched as the aliens walked into the Grand Assembly Hall. Do-hyun looked remarkably human-like, with subtle differences. His skin had a faint blue tint. His eyes were larger and his fingers had an extra joint. He wore a simple gray uniform with symbols of rank on the shoulders. Dr. Kim, chosen as Earth's chief negotiator, stood to greet the visitors. "Welcome to Earth. We have many questions for you." Do-hyun bowed slightly. "And we for you. But first, let me explain why we have come." He activated a small device that projected images in the air. It showed an ancient spacecraft, similar in design to the massive ship now orbiting Earth.